Okay, let me go ahead and get to the website. And the first thing I'm going to do is a registration system. And let me share that. Okay, this is it. Can you see my screen? It's just the Edge,
Yes.
and I'm going to go imhreg.com.
Hmm.
You've been on it before, right?
Yes.
One of the things that I've done, if you can see the email address there,
Yes.
try and memorize that. That's your email address. I created a new user and I gave you super admin authority over this. So you can do anything that I can do. And you can look at users, you can add users, delete users, change their passwords and all that.
Okay.
So, all right. Um, to go to the events, you're probably familiar with this. You click on the event button on the top, on the black bar, and that'll take you to events. Should take you to events. Okay, and you're familiar with this screen.
Yes.
One of the things right now with this release, if I hover over the edit, well, I guess it's hard to see on the bottom, but in the bottom, there's HTTPS. The bottom left of the screen, can you see HTTP IMH regcom event edit /38?
Yes.
Okay, 38 is the event ID. I'm gonna, if I can, and I remember to do it, I'll include it on the screen so you won't have to hover. But if I go down here, the event ID is 37. This one's 36. And probably if I create a new one, it's going to be 39. I don't know. But
Hmm.
anyway, that's an event ID. Now, it turns out, and I'll show you the records, that there's a lot of information that repeats for every single retreat. And it's kind of hard to type in and remember. So what I always do, there's this, I highlighted a dupe. I can duplicate a retreat and get a new line.
Hmm.
So Howie Cone has this is a uh, residential retreat. And if I just copy this one, half of the fields you have to fill out are going to be filled out correctly to create the new event.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to do is just click on the dupe and notice Howie Cone's the top, Mac November 24. I'm duplicating it. I clicked on duplicate. And now you see two Howie Cone 2024 on the top, right?
Yes.
But one has 0 people, which is on the second line. And this is the number. So if I want to create a new one, I've duplicated it, got most of it out. I have at times edited this and deleted the information that we needed for the real Howie Cone retreat event. But I don't want to do that. And if you look, this is event ID 39. So you want to look with all the zeros across here is the one we're going to modify. I duplicated, we're going to use most of it, okay?
Mm. Yes.
This actually, what we do right now will be used for the retreat that Travis and I are leading.
Okay.
So I click on that. And the event name, Travis and Stan January 2025. And it's important to get this date right just so that they sequence the events properly. But I think it's January 24th, 2025. Now, I don't know for sure what V and
The
Mattel will ask.
title says 2022. I think you typed in 2032.
Right. Good. Maybe it's good that two people do this.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me, just for fun, I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, I made it larger, hopefully for the recording, it'll be easier to see. Okay, so you have the dates there. I later on am going to get from Travis these numbers and I'll fill it out later.
Mhm.
The maximum number, again, I'm going to get from Travis and fill out later. So that's good. The event status, I want to be open for registration. Now, what I should have done is gone back to the Howie Cohen retreat and say close for registration so no one could. But it really doesn't cause any problems if you don't do that. The key thing I wind up doing on the registration page is taking down the link so no one will be able to know how to get there anyway.
Right.
Now, I got three choices for retreat location: Margaret Austin, non-residential, and Senecal. I honestly don't remember what's different about Senecal. We haven't had one at the Senecal for 10 years. So I don't know what's different about how I set that up. But essentially for all residential retreats, use Margaret Austin, even if it's not Margaret Austin, because really the way it handles it is as if it were residential retreat. And there are a limit of men and women. We need to do that. And check for the total number, yes. Okay. By the way, I'm not sure it's in the document I gave you, but if this were not a residential retreat and you could have as many women as men, and suppose you could have 60 people in there, you'd put this to 60, the number of men to 60, the number of women to 60, and this to 60,
Mhm.
and it'll work right. It'll
Right.
it'll stop registration when total 60 is done. Check for number of men, check for number of women. If we don't need to do that, say no, but we do need to check for the total. So for the residential retreats, these two are yes. The cost, I don't know what the cost is. I'll have to update that later. Now, here's the thing one of the reasons why I didn't want anybody else to update this. This is an HTML text in here for the event description. You're going to have to go in here and hopefully you can understand Insight Meditation Retreat, residential retreat with, and I'm just changing with Travis Hicks and Stan Merrill. You just change it. I mean, I can make this, it happens
Mhm.
to be from Friday, January, I think it's 23rd.
Um, I can check. Friday is 24th.
Okay. To Sunday,
26th.
26th. And it's probably important to put the 2025. But some people, the BR and all this stuff would scare them. I don't know. It shouldn't be a problem. But anyway, and then this is going to be at the Via de Mattel. And this doesn't change. It's the same address if you have any questions or concerns.
Mhm.
Is it active? Yes. And this never changes. It's always sent it to the retreat administrator. So this PayPal HTML never changes. And here's what used to happen. Every time we'd have a new retreat, one retreat's 175, the next one's 185, the next 135. I'd have to go into PayPal, create a new PayPal button, and then do that. I got sick and tired of doing that. So this is a button that says, pay for your retreat here. And Yeah, I don't think there's anything in here you have to change. And then you can enter the amount you want to pay for the retreat. You have to pay for the retreat plus the Donna you could give. And I'm not going to update these. It's not, I don't want to waste your time doing this. I'm going to have to go back when I really have the documents and do it. But instruction for payment, it's, you can change the instructions for payment here, and text for the enrollment email. And most of this will be the same.
Right. They don't really change. Yeah.
So most of it. And then I go ahead and update it. And now if I want to enroll a student, enroll, this is for Travis and Stan, and I'm going to let me go back. I'm going to open the link in a new tab.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Okay. Okay, enrollment for Stan. Okay, so this changes. It has choice for, it's a residential retreat. If it's non-residential retreat, and I need to test this out, it won't have preferred housing because you don't need housing. It won't have these meditation experience things, food allergies and health concerns. I'm not sure, but a lot of this gets dropped out. So that's why it's important to identify. Now, this is a screen that me as administrator would see if I'm the one adding it, but it's not what the user would see. So what I'm going to do now, I have this window up. I'm going to log off because this has me as an administrator. And now I'm going to go into this registration thing and refresh it. And this is what the end users would see. So you can take a look. Inside Meta with Travis, Hicks, and Stan Merrill, Friday, Janet, via the Minitel. But that was the HTML we picked out. By the way, by me doing it the HTML way, if someone tells me that they want this thing to look really different and I know about HTML, I can modify it. And I don't know how much HTML you know, but if you look at what I had there, you might work backwards and figure out. But anyway, this is what it'll look like. They still can do health concerns or special comments. But you notice, oh yeah, they have first name. But there were other things missing, like are they waitlisted? Have they paid yet? And all these kind of things in administrative.
Yes.
Did you get the document I sent you?
Yes.
Go ahead and open that and look at that. And page 1 is, describes everything that I've done.
Yes, I'm seeing it. Is there anything you want me to look at particular? Because
I just want you to look through a couple of the things and hopefully everything I've been saying to you, which is being recorded, and you'll have this video, is also in that document. So, it's a lot easier to look through a document than it is to go through a video and find a specific point. So you've got two things. You've got the video, if you really need to look at it in detail, and you've got this.
Yes. So yeah, I have it. Okay.
So up until now, I've been the only person that's created event ID. I just didn't want to worry if someone knew HTML or people were afraid. But this, I don't think is too complicated. Do you have any questions or concerns about it? I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, but
yeah, I agree. It's
what?
Pretty straightforward. I was able to follow along. So I guess one simple question would be, let's say I duplicated it and for some reason I need to delete it. So that event will go away and the ID will go away too, right? I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah, and then it wouldn't be sequential, but I can go ahead and do that for you. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm not going to delete it. But if you go to the event list, and I'm glad you asked that question, we're really important. These buttons to the right in blue are links. This is if you want to edit This is if you want to delete it. This is if you want to enroll a student in it. And this is if you want to go to the student list. And this will generate all the spreadsheets that I'm not sure. Howie Cohn had like 10 different spreadsheets. And I spent a lot of time about 10 years ago, given the database, pulling them up for the different spreadsheets, but I haven't done anything in a while. And this is a duplicate that we use so that we can replicate the retreat. So I'm glad you asked about that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm following it. So we can move to the next step.
Okay. So let's go to the next step. Okay. Insight meditation. I'll visit the site. Now let me go to the retreats page. And now I'm going to talk about something that I've got 4 pages of you telling you how I update the retreats page. And it's really complicated. If you can figure out an easier way of doing it, please go ahead and do it. Okay. But here's the thing. We have a retreat page, it's in production, and we want to put a new retreat out. If I go start modifying this and then updating it, then the next person can, I keep looking at it, it gets half updated, 3/4 updated, and whatever, then it can be really confusing to other people. If I update a live system, I don't know how familiar you are with testing. I don't know where you work. Do you have testing system, move stuff from test to production? You're familiar with that?
Vaguely, no, I don't work on this, no. But I get your point because yeah, if it takes a few days and so on, it's gonna hang on.
So
Yeah.
what would be really easy for you, and you wouldn't have to spend a lot of time, is if you're logged on to this system and you have been making changes, I don't have to tell you how to log on to it. There's an edit page thing here, which you probably have worked with. So this
Yes.
comes up. So you just go in here and just change the name of this, change the name of this, change this picture. And I'll tell you something, for these links, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. Let's see what happens. If you highlight, click here.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen that? There's an edit button.
Yes.
So if I click on that, then it brings up this where I can change the URL. But it also has this gear option.
Hmm.
So if you do that, you can put in a new URL here. It's very important to say open the link in the new tab, particularly if you have these new, you don't want to kick them out of the system. And then you can update it.
But you said that's not gonna be required because we're gonna have the same PayPal link anyway, right?
Yeah, the PayPal link will always be no. I'm glad you asked that.
Okay.
The event ID in this case is 38.
Hmm.
When we create the new one, and in that document I wrote for the event ID, if you didn't change this link, it would take to the registration for the Howie Cohn, for the Howie Cohn retreat. This is how it tells which, it knows to fill out the right registration one. But I
Okay.
think in the document I have there, I highlight and say it's very important that you change this link. For these, it's the same type of thing. For all the documents that we upload, you highlight it, then you can edit it, then you hit this, and then you'll have to get a new, when you upload a document, you can go to the document and see where it is and go ahead and change it. Let me show you. I'm going to keep this page up. There's a media library. You go to media library.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me show you this now, and then maybe I can go through my whole complicated process. But all media items, you can get just PDF files, images, audio, documents. And then you'll see all the things that we're downloading. Details, Howie Cohn Retreat, November 2024. Details, Howie Cohn.
That's the PDF version, yes.
Oh, the PDF version, right. And then you have the scholarship, November, Howie Cohn, and then the PDF version, PDF and whatever. But if I click on any of these, a page comes up where you have the URL for it, and I can copy it to the clipboard. And I don't know if you're used to a tool like TextPad or Notepad.
Yes.
But I store it up there. And when we do the new retreat, I take all 6 documents and I upload them with one command, all 6 of them up to the website. And then I copy all of them into a TextPad. And then I go back to this page. And now when I edit it, this is a details Howie Cohn 24. I'm going to have to change this to details Travis and Stan January 2025. And then I'll take the link for the details Stan and Travis 2025 and put that link in. You know, which I have, like, there is the link that for the, smart copy. Now, let me ask you this. How is your time? I can go through step by step what it would be to update this the way I do it and explain that, you've got a trip coming up. It's not, I'm going to have to do this again anyway, because I don't have the documents. But if you'd like me to go through and show you what I'm doing and how it works, I'll go through the motions and actually create a new web page and then copy it and start making the edits. Would you like to do it now or wait until we do the next one and then guide you through?
So this part is clear to me, but what do you mean by new web page? Are you talking about the retreat page or a different one?
Okay. Yeah, the retreat page. Okay, let me tell you and see if it makes sense to you. I have a production page. That's what this is.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't want to change the, this is the link on the top says retreats. It'll take you to this page. Okay.
Right.
So I want to leave this up while I'm making changes. Okay. So what I wind up doing, I'll take you through the process. I'll describe it first and then I'll go ahead and do it. So I've got a production one. I don't want to wait. I don't want to change it until I'm sure I've got everything right on the new retreats page. So I create a new blank page with nothing in it that I say retreat staging. I have the word staging on it. Retreat Travis Stan 2025. And it's completely blank. Okay. And then I copy everything that is in there from the current retreats page into that. And then I make all the modifications. I keep looking, updating it and looking at it until I got it right. And then I take all the data from here and then when I think I have it all right, I give it to the board, let them look at the page and say, oh, that spelling's wrong or the date's wrong or whatever. I correct it on that staging page. And then I go into the staging page and take all that and then slap it in here.
Okay.
And that process is good. It's complicated and hard to describe on a piece of paper, but that's what I'm doing. And if you want me to, right now, I can go through and do that and show you the basic changes. And then whenever you like, we can, for the next retreat, either me or you will, I'll do it once in front of you where we actually complete it and get it right. Or you can try and do it and I'll guide you through. It depends on how you want to do. And it depends on whether you want to see right now, depending if you feel busy and you don't want to spend another half hour, 45 minutes doing this. There's no rush to do it now. Do it 2 months from now. Okay with me, and it may be fresher. It's up to you.
Well, I have kind of put aside till 5 p.m., so I'm not in a rush.
Okay.
And since we're recording this, it may be a good idea to just complete this and have one single recording.
Okay.
And yeah, the one retreat you and Travis are doing, I won't be able to help on that, but the one after that one, I will do it myself, and you may just watch me do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, let me show you. This, you may find a better way of duplicating a page, but I don't know. And if you find a better way, great. But this is one way I found out of doing it. Okay.
Mm.
And the instructions you can look on there, but there's these 3 dots up here. Edit as HTML. You click on the 3 dots, you get this drop down, and one of the options is edited as HTML. And that's the HTML for the page. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with Control A, which highlights everything?
Yes,
Control C
right.
is Control A and Control C. Okay. And now I say edit visually. I haven't done anything to this. I've got
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. I got the whole page. And now if I create a new page, I'll get an exact duplicate of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me go ahead and do that. And actually, I want to get out. I don't want to leave this page up in edit mode. It's an important page. It's a production page. So I'm leaving without saving changes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I go, you may be familiar with this. You go to pages and I can add a new page.
Yes.
And I always want to label it staging because I want to be able to look back at old pages and save this. So probably the last 5 retreats or so, you search staging, you'll find one. And if Howie Cohn does another retreat at Margaret Auspicious Cloud, you can get that, and there's probably going to be only, it'll be really easy to modify. Instead of just modifying the current retreats page, go to that. Staging, Travis, Hicks. Well, let me just do Travis, Stan, January 2025. Now I need to add a block. And the way I'm doing this with the classical,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go up to this edit as HTML.
And then Control B. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I go back to edit visually. And now here's one tricky problem I run into is I have the retreat history here. You know, if I go back several retreats, the retreat history would be wrong. The fact that I've copied it, you know, now I can get away with, oh shoot. Now I can get away with just making the updates up here and I could copy the retreat dates. But you got to be careful. In some cases, if I go back to Howie Cohn did a retreat at Margaret Austin Center and it's not the last one, then if I get a very old staging one, then the retreat history won't be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just understand this, you can figure out, well, I just delete the event part and leave the retreat part. But anyway, it talks about it in the document. I say what to do in that document. Okay, now retreat. And then you can go in and just highlight. And I don't want to do too much typing, but retreat fourth foundation of mindfulness. And you go through and type over. A lot of this is just typing over. In this case, I've got to upload a new photograph, but actually I think Travis has his picture there. So I can go edit. Replace. I had to look, I forgot how to do, but there's a replace there. And I probably can search, hopefully the picture of Travis has his name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Replace.
The location of it, can you just drag it or you have to say?
I think I can drag it. Did you see what I did? It's the
Yes.
align left.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have to change all this. It's a lot of typing. So, but the pictures you can change that way. There'll be a registration link here, which is no longer here. And then
Mm.
you've got to highlight that link and all you have to do is change the event ID number in it. And I think in my instructions, that's listed. And then you'll need new documents.
Mm-hmm.
So let me take an example. You can, so you have to go to the media page. I'm leaving this up. Media library. I've already been in that page. You'll get 6 documents from the people responsible for the treat. And I don't know if you can see up here, add new media file.
Mm-hmm.
So I select files. And the way I do it on my computer, I have, I think, IMH. IMH, January 2025 retreat. I go to all these documents. I get all 6 of them, 3 Word docs, 3 docs, and I select the files.
Right.
You know, I'll you can highlight more than one, and I don't want to load this because it's too early.
Right.
And then they'll all be down here in a row, and I go with my click on it, copy to clipboard, get all 6 of them. And then I go back to this page. And by the way, it's still add new page. Let me I have to at some point publish it or I'll lose everything. But I'm publishing a new page that no one has a link to.
Right.
Let me go ahead and publish it. Now I can go on view page, which I think will open in a new. And if you look, it says IMS Houston staging Travis Stan John. And this is the link. Eventually, when I got everything set up, the only way you can get it is through this link because it's not part of the menu structure. I can send that out to the board of directors for them to
Look at it. Yeah.
do test registration. And that's it. So, I mean, that's basically the approach. So I'll go through and I'm going to make this big again. Is still, I don't know why there's a 6 there. But anyway, and then I thought it would have left up. I can edit the page, go back into edit mode, make all the corrections that I need to do. And I keep having to switch because your picture is hiding. But now that I've updated it, I've published it, I can keep saving it when I make changes.
Mhm.
And this page is complicated enough where you want to keep doing saves and looking at it. And I'm surprised that this didn't open in a new tab. Okay. And then I go through when I've completely done this. So you change all the verbiage here. You have to change the registration link here. You change these, the full amount in PayPal. You change this. Partial payment for scholarships. I don't think you need to change this. As a matter of fact, we can look at it. It has nothing to do with it doesn't have the event ID in it. So it's just if you want to make it's essentially a link to give any amount of money you want to give to IMH.
Yeah.
And I believe in the document I gave you, I listed all the things that need to be done. So you go through and make all these corrections. And then when you're finished, you edit as HTML, you get all the HTML and can stuff it back in. And that's essentially that whole 3 pages of information or 4 pages in my document that I have you do.
Mhm.
So that's, I think now you probably have a good overview of it. I don't know if you could, I think it'd be difficult for you to do it all on your own. On the other hand, with the document I gave you, I think if something would happen to me tomorrow and with this video, I think you could do it. But certainly the next time we do a retreat, definitely work with you on it. And we can figure out how to proceed. I'm willing to keep doing it as long as I'm healthy. But if you want to do it, or you may want to stay in shape doing it, it may help if you continue doing it, whatever. But that's it.
Okay. Well, question on this. So let's say we are ready to take this to production, right?
Okay.
Um, so you just come here and remove the staging, or do you create a new page?
No, I leave the staging here for the reason that we wind up having a history of all the different retreats. And for example, if Howie Cohn does another MAC retreat, that would be the page I want to start off on, not the current retreats page. I wouldn't want to start out with me, look what we did with the picture. We wouldn't have to worried about that if it was at the last retreat Howie did at MAC. we took that. And let me go to that page. I'm going to save this page. Because that's a good question you have. Now I'm going to go to pages. Now I'll show you two things you need that be very helpful when you're working with this page. One, you can search pages. And the reason I have staging on each one of them, Ginger and Travis 2020. So all of these, if Ginger and Travis do another retreat and you don't want to worry about the pictures, pick this one. Howie Cohn. And some of these were virtual, so you wouldn't want to pick this one. But I know that Howie at the MAC 2020 may have been one, but for sure, this we know is a retreat. Not only is it a residential retreat, but it's the auspicious cloud retreat. So you might have to change less about the directions and stuff. So this gives you a lot of places where you can start. And, just like I could do, I go into this one for Howie November 24, which is probably, you go edit it. Remember, it said here registration closed on the real retreat page. Well, I just made that, that was an easy change. I didn't go through staging. I just wiped that out and said here. But if I go ahead and edit this, you'll see that's event ID 38. So if I had, taken, if I had taken another page to start out and plug my staging thing in, I wouldn't have had, it would have been easier for me to get the click here to register button would have been a lot easier to modify. So, if you can find something that's very similar to what you're doing, an old staging, but worst comes to worst, I mean, if you pick any of them, it's not that different. I mean, you're always going to have 6 documents to load. You're always going to have a registration. You're going to, it's information about the scholarship forms that need to be filled out.
Right.
So actually, that's it. I mean, I think if we had all the information, it probably would have gone till 5 o'clock, and we probably could have had. But I don't want to do half of it and then figure out what I didn't do and stuff like that. But I did want you to understand.
Right. The last part is still is a little bit confused though, because we created this staging page. When I'm moving into the production, what exactly am I doing for that? Like,
Okay. So suppose this page, this is staging. Okay. This is, you have some staging page. So you go, edit as HTML and copy, select all and copy. Okay. Now I'm leaving here because I don't want to change it. Then what I do is I go to the website. This is the production web page. I edit the page. And I go here. I didn't realize it. I had to touch this before the 3 dots grew up.
Yeah.
It is HTML, and I highlight this and replace it. Let me.
Right. Okay.
And let me show you one more thing before I. If you look down, if you slowly go through here, you'll notice this says retreat history. Retreat history. So if I took some very old page and copied the retreat history there, I wouldn't want the old history. I just copy what's above and just delete what's above this and leave whatever's in the current retreat page is the most relevant, right? This is production retreat page. This is in production. And
Yeah.
so this stuff is more current. So I might, when I do the copy, just copy the event part of it, the current event part of it. That's this whole part is going to be different for a new event and not touch this. And when I'm completed, I may want to add 2025 and the new, I will. Well, so I'm going to have to add something and update the retreat history part.
Yeah, I get your point. It's just instead of messing up with the history, you just copy this portion.
Right.
But you do it you still do it on HTML view, right?
Actually, now that you asked the question, I was going to say yes, I just do it in the HTML, but look, I'm not going to do it. But suppose I just want to get, you know,
The top part, yeah.
yeah, I could highlight the top part. I think I could. Okay, I highlight this part, delete it. And then in the staging section, if I'm not going to copy the bottom part out, I'd copy the bottom part of that out, the retreat in the staging one, delete it because it's no good, and then just paste this on top of it. Does it make sense?
Yes.
And we'll go when we get a real retreat, we can go ahead and see how that is. But yeah, and it's easier to hide when you have it visually, it's a lot easier to see what to highlight and get rid of. And because you asked that question, my initial response would have been to go to the HTML because that's the way I'm doing it. But I'm finding it a pain in the ass because it's very difficult to find out. Here, I'm not sure how familiar you are with HTML, but this is an H2 tag. Well, if it's an HTML, it's just one of the little lines in there, but it's a big bold thing and you know exactly where to start and that's exactly where to delete. Any other questions?
Um, so on the PayPal links, all we do is update the ID. There is nothing I have to like do on the PayPal account or anything like that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Here's why. Let's look at the pay full amount by PayPal. Payments. Oh, okay. But you see, this is event ID in that one. Can you see the
Yeah,
URL? So if you look
right.
at the URL, if there's an event ID in there, you need to change it. Right
Yeah.
now, watch this. For the new retreat, it's probably going to be 39.
Oh, okay.
Payments for Travis and Stan. So when you change that, if you change the PayPal ID for that one, you need to look at them and see whether it has a event ID. And it has an event ID. It says event ID in it. So 30 says, and that was Ginger Clark and Travis back in. Okay. Okay, now let me go back. So this one will have it. If you want to make a partial payment, click here. You can make a payment for a retreat on this page. I don't care what retreat it is.
Right.
Insight meditation. And by the way, on our site, I think this is the page. Oh no. I thought I'd do this for multiple accounts, so. But anyway, it'll take you to, you can make a sheet for this page, and it's a PayPal link to, that goes to the Insight Meditation.
Mhm.
You want to make a partial payment.
Yeah. So I got a good overview on this. Once we do it, like you said, once